and for those and I know I'm guilty of this because I'm just as much a product of the church as most of the other people here. We get into rhythms and patterns, and we just assume that everybody else picks up on them.
Right.
And I don't think that's a good assumption for us to make, especially for neurodivergent kids.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody
Yeah.
that walks into the door of this church, whether they're neurodivergent or not, who has never experienced Presbyterian form of worship or whatever, like, I think it's an act of hospitality, not just for our neurodivergent neighbors,
Right.
but for everybody, to
Right.
not assume that they know what those cues are. And I
Right.
don't think, it's probably unreasonable for us to mitigate 100% of that uncertainty. But there are things that
Oh,
we
yeah.
can do to
Yeah.
lessen that burden, to make the new visitor or the neurodivergent kid and their families at least know that we as a church, like, we acknowledge
Yeah.
that diversity,
Oh, yeah.
and we see it not as something to be ashamed of or
Right.
to try to put up with, but something to celebrate and to explore, because as you said, that's what Jesus would do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Jesus doesn't call us to do the easy thing. Jesus calls us to do the right thing. But all the things that you're talking about, they don't cost
Easy.
a lot of money.
No, they're all easy things. Sensory bins, headphones, they're all super, super easy things. And, for you and I to sit through an hour-long church service, it's not difficult. Well, I guess it's depending on who's preaching, but your services are not difficult.
I know. I'm the pastor, and sometimes it's difficult for me too. So
But
it's okay.
an hour-long service for most people it's not a hard hour. It's, you're listening and you're in tune. But for a kid on the spectrum, that is that is just emotionally draining.
yeah.
There's so many different things and so many different changes in that hour time. And then the mental power it takes, especially if you don't understand those social cues. Get up, sit down, be quiet, be loud. Walk around, stay in your seat. And our church does a really good job of recognizing that, our staff, I should say, because like even in children's message yesterday, Poppy was having a really hard time in service yesterday, and she put the headphones on, and when she went up for children's message, one of her stems is skin picking. She
When you
picks
say
in her arm.
STEM, tell me about that word.